So hello everyone and a very warm welcome to our final Delta training session of today. Today we have an update for SAP S4HANA Cloud continuous feature delivery, which is definitely a very hot topic moving forward. Before we begin, I'd like to just confirm that the session is being recorded and the recordings will be posted to our landing pages in the coming days. You will also find the slide decks there from the speakers. We will have time for Q&A at the end of the session. Please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen for this. Please don't use the chat for questions because we like to record them via the Q&A. So with the details cleared up, I would like to now hand over to Christian Geldmacher, who will start the update on CFD. So Christian, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg. Yes, welcome everybody as well from my side. I'm Christian Geldmacher from the S4HANA engineering team. I'm a part of the continuous feature delivery program. And I have the honor today, together with Tina Malik from the Cloud Customer Care team, to present to you, I would say first time now on a bigger audience, the topic of continuous feature delivery. This will have an impact on all our S4HANA Cloud customers. So I assume, therefore, there's probably a high interest as well on your side. So let's get started. Continuous feature delivery, it's not a new topic, obviously. This is something, a quote from Christian Klein already last year, which set the vision. We want to get away from month-long projects. Instead, we want to deploy a new functionality without a second of downtime. And that is something exactly this, without a second of downtime. So without disrupting the business, this kind of sets our frame, our vision of this continuous feature delivery program. So in the end, when probably you go and ask customers the same with us, we went to many customers, they don't tell us that that we should continuously disrupt and deliver upgrades. No, they want stability. They want that the processes run. They want that the business runs. And on the other side, if you go to individual customers, then the customer say, "Oh, I need this functionality. I need that soon. This is critical." So that means, in the end, there is a need to balance out the general need for stability and the specific need for continuous innovation or for innovation of the individual customer. So, and that's what we aim for with continuous feature delivery. How are we doing that? We will reduce actually the number of upgrades, so of releases, and we'll deliver instead in between releases continuously so-called updates. I will go into that a little bit later. So this means we will reduce the disruption just because out of the fact that we will reduce the number of upgrades. Plus, we will deliver CFD updates without disrupting the business of the customers. So we call it no day one impact. How exactly? This is as well part of the presentation. On the other side, I spoke about these continuous updates and the delivery of innovations in a way that allows the customers to choose what they want to implement. How exactly? Stay tuned. So in the end, we give the customer the opportunity to consume faster functionality, to give us faster feedback, and we enable our internal engineering processes to react faster. And that's actually the magic bullet here that we deliver with CFD. So let's start with the stability side. And I don't want to go too much into this because this is kind of opening up the box and then speaking about how we enable quality. In the end, we are all on the same page. Customers have to experience that the quality improves, and words are not enough here. Nonetheless, I want to tell you that CFD is first and foremost for our engineering unit at S4HANA a quality initiative. We tell every team in the beginning, and we completely overworked and redesigned the quality assurance process for our S4HANA teams. And we tell them, you are not allowed to disrupt the customer's business at any point in time. What are the principles? First, how are we getting there? First of all, with continuous feature delivery, there comes as well a continuous engineering and continuous development. So we are getting away from planning big buckets of releases, developing that with milestones and deadlines, with a fixed scope and fixed deadline, and then kind of having a cool down phase where we test and get the bugs out of the stuff. No, we are getting into a mode where each individual feature, we will plan actually the quality assurance. So we will cut the big release small, test the individual feature, even small deliveries that are hidden delivered without the customer seeing anything, that no regressions are there. We call that shift left. We will then actually enable the team to work on that feature and complete it with all scope and quality that is required. And only when they are finished, they take the next bus that is kind of there, because we have continuously possibilities to deliver. And that is a major improvement for the teams to enable better quality. The part of no day one impact, I will explain a little bit later in the slide, what that really means. Yeah, what does it mean we don't disrupt the customer? So, but in general, that should be enough kind of opening the box, how we are getting to stability, quality, non-disruption. Yeah, as I said, we have to prove that anyway. Yeah. Let's go more on the details on how we are going to deliver innovations to our customers. I told you already, we will reduce the number of releases. So starting next year, we will go from quarterly deliveries to half-year deliveries. So you will have only 2 releases next year. These releases are the same as you know. These are the system upgrades, kind of, you know, in the same sequence systematic that you know. Then in between these releases, we will deliver frequent non-disruptive updates. All functionality that is delivered in these updates will as well delivered with the next release. Yeah. So, and we will enable the customer to choose what functionality he or she wants to consume from an update. So in the end, the customer can choose to completely ignore the updates and just consume the new functionality via the releases. That's what we mean. CFD updates are purely optional pre-deliveries of functionality. As well, details following. Consequently, the effort concerning the consumption of innovation reduces, and more important, becomes more flexible to the customer, because the customer can choose when to consume functionality and schedule it according to his or her timelines. Yeah. And therefore, kind of having not only continuous innovation, but more flexible way of consuming innovation. All right. So that is kind of, you know, a little bit the high level. Yeah, we go now deeper into the how we are doing that. So let's get concrete. I told you we will have next year 2 releases. Here you see the releases, the last 3 releases or last 2 releases kind of from this year, 2105, 2108. The next release, 2111. And then you see next year we will have 2202 and 2208. Then the updates, the CFD updates, Let's first speak about the naming of the updates. Updates have the name of the related release. So that means an update on the release 2108.1. The first update has the name 2108.1. And then sequentially .2, .3, and so on and so forth. You see here, next year, we will start with this regular delivery regular delivery cadence, yeah, with 2102.1.2.3. The detailed schedule will be released in the next weeks. The CFD updates are delivered via hot fixes. So as an example, 2108.1 was delivered via hotfix collection 5. So that means the coding is delivered via the hotfix collections directly into the systems, into the production and quality systems of the customer. The customer does not have to do any regression testing after this update. However, if the customer chooses to consume functionality with day one impact, he or she can do so using switches or toggles. How exactly does that work? Let's have a look. I told you, CFD features are innovations without day one impact. Day one impact means there are no incompatible changes allowed, which are effective immediately. In particular, it's not allowed that end users need to be trained after an update. It's not allowed that the customer has to change, adapt their extensions, have to retest or adapt business processes or configuration, or any other interruption of the normal business of the customer or any downtimes of the project. So how are we doing that? There is, and therefore I put in here the decision tree. Yeah? So we are delivering functionality or features in CFD which are causing day one impact and which are not causing day one impact. But I told you, hey, it's not allowed day one impact. So what are we doing about it? So if there are features with day one impact, they need to be hidden behind toggles, behind a toggle. And the customer can then optionally consume this feature by switching it actively on. And then obviously the customer has to test it. Yeah? That's the normal business that you know of the upgrades today. But you have it here where the customer has a decision to switch individual features on or not. Then, as a standard, with the next release, in this case 2208, the feature becomes standard functionality because in the next release, the toggle will be deleted. Yeah. So then this functionality is available to all customers like you have it today. Now you understand why a CFD update is an optional pre-delivery of functionality. In the case of no day one impact, so, and we are speaking here currently of 90%, 95%, I would even say, percent of the features that we are delivering are very small. There is a new field, there is a new entry in drop down, there is a new column in a table, very small things. Yeah. In this case, you know, where there is no disruption whatsoever, there is no training whatsoever needed. Yeah. Then this CFD feature becomes standard functionality already through the updates, through the 2202.1, for example. Yeah. And one effect of these different, and there's then no switching on or whatsoever, but it is immediately active. Yeah? Another effect there is for features which have day one impact and which are hidden behind toggles, and as well for all other features, we are delivering what's new documents for each feature, explaining what it is, yeah, how to activate it, and Tina will show you later on a little bit more on that one. Yeah? And when there is a feature behind a toggle, however, as this feature becomes standard functionality only in the next release, so here 2208, there will be another what's new document for this feature in 2208. So for all the customers that didn't switch it on. For the features that are not behind a toggle, there's only one what's new document because it is standard functionality right away. Yeah. So all customers consume it already in 2202.1. So there is no need for another what's new document in 2208. So that just for you as an example, what that means. All right. So from here on, I would now stop sharing and hand over to Tina.
Thank you, Christian. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, based on the region that you're joining this call from. So as I'm Tina Malik, I lead the cloud customer care for the APJ region. So as Christian mentioned, I'm going to take you through the customer adoption journey steps with continuous feature delivery. So while Christian mentioned about CFD, the benefits that we obtain from the CFD and what we are trying to focus is on the smaller feature-based work package delivery, and hence refining our release strategy in order to get into a model where we are constantly and continuously integrating and delivery. What does it mean for our customers in that way? So while we focus on continuously delivering the features for the customers, also it would mean a continuous planning, implementation, and an operations. Planning in terms of continuously evaluating their business requirements to understand and evaluate the gaps, match them to the SAP innovations which are delivered via the continuous feature delivery, and bridge those gaps by implementing those features. Again, as Christian in very detail mentioned, that features can either be directly deployed into the customer system based on no zero day one impact and no prerequisite or configuration required, or for the features that need a prerequisite configuration or activating a scope item and hence foresee a day one impact are delivered under the toggle. So those are the features which have to be manually activated by the customers, tested in their respective systems, and then activate in the production system as well. And with the continuous operation is, of course, the feedback. The continuous feedback is highly supported, which also helps us to improve. So while talking of this entire customer adoption journey, there are multiple touch points that enhances customers' experience to know more of the features which are delivered via the CFD, as well as also to be able to make customer to consume those features which are delivered. So just talking on a very high level, talking of on all those tools, so as also mentioned by Christian in the earlier section, the base document to provide any kind of documentation or details on the feature is the What's New document. The prelim version of the What's New document for our major releases, which is released 4 weeks before the RTC. For the CFD, it is released 2 weeks before. So you could have an access to the preliminary version of the What's New document to understand the features which are planned to be delivered via the upcoming CFD release. There are multiple access points to these to this What's New document. One of it is the RAST, which is a release assessment and scope dependency tool. Customers are quite familiar, very useful for the customers. And this really helps the customer not going through or scanning through the list of all the features. They could specifically focus on the features which are relevant to the scopes that they are using, so that it also narrow down their search in looking at the features which is suitable to them or their business requirements. The second one is a Roadmap Explorer, which provides us the 4-quarter roadmap of the innovations which are planned to be delivered by SAP. The SAP Activate methodology is again updated with the features, functionalities, and details on the CFT. And then on the S4HANA is where we have the Activate New Feature app, which will be used by the customers to activate the features which are released with the toggle, and hence giving a flexibility to the customer to activate and test and use those features. Also, as mentioned by Christian, these features are eventually becomes as part of the standard solution with the next major releases. However, if there is a feature which is very specific to a customer requirement, where the product owner may take a decision that it may not be required to make it a part of the standard solution, it continues to stay under the Activate New Feature app. And of course, as I mentioned, the continuous feedback is always supported via the Customer Influence Portal, and again, these two tools, the Customer Influence Portal and the WCR, continues to be the tool which helps us to build the backlog for the CFT delivery as well. So here is where our customers put in their feature requests during the implementation phase or during the run phases. Now, quickly moving on to the demo. So this is the RASD tool, which has been enhanced with the 2108.1 feature delivery. So at the moment, this tool is still being developed by the respective team. So right now, it is more of a test system for the demo purpose, which has been taken up. So for this customer, the moment I choose the release as 2108, it tells me the number of scope items which have been changed. While these would not be the directly impacted scope items, it also includes any scope item which might have a cascading effect from the scope item to which the feature is directly associated with. In order to know more of the features, I could go into the Analyze by LOB. This is more on the generic level, where I would choose the LOB, where I would want to know the features which are delivered against this LOB or the scope items on those LOB. So I get to know of all the features. So here is one of the scope item which has got a feature released. I click it, I get the corresponding feature here. Another thing which is there also on the roadmap of the RASD is also, if a feature is released with a toggle, then the feature gets tagged here for the customer to be aware that this feature is not automatically available in their system. However, they need to manually activate the feature in their system and test it. So this is again one of our access point to the What's New document. Clicking on any of the feature, it directly takes us to the What's New document section of that feature, which gives us more details and also the links to get into more details. As you see this, for this feature, you would only see the technical details and the note, which means this is one of the features which is directly rolled out into the customer system and does not need any manual intervention to automate it. Looking into other features like trying to change the LOB, going to finance, again, I can see all these scope items which gets impacted by the features. So here again, if I go into J78, I get to see what are the features which are released against this item. And then I have J58, which has the enhanced manage general entry simulation screen with GL long text. If I get into this feature to look into the What's New document, here for this feature, you will see one additional section which indicates the effect on system administration that clearly mentions to the customer that feature is not automatically available into their system, but requires them to activate the feature via the Activate New Feature app. So, and as I mentioned, this is currently in roadmap that even in RASD, these features get tagged up to be activated in the Activate New Feature app. So this is a quick one on the RASD. Now moving on to our S4 system. So S4 system, again, as I said, while What's New continues to be the base document to get any information on the features, and one of the access point could be via the RASD. There is also a new app which is released an S4 system that also provides an access to the What's New system. And what is to be noted, the good point is that this app is released as a part of one of the CFD deliveries. So again, via this app, you could access the information as is release independent news. These are basically the important news which are not specific to releases, to get to know more of CFD, for example. Then you also have an access to your preliminary document as well as your What's New document. So here again, this brings one of the access point to the What's New document. Then I'm talking about the Activate New Feature app. This was also mentioned in the What's New document of the features which comes by the toggle. Here is where the customer can see the list of all the features which are delivered with the toggle. So he gets the details in terms of the feature name, the activation status. If the feature has already been activated, the status changes to activate with the username that gets tagged and the date on which it gets activated. And anytime customer wants to activate a feature, he would just choose the feature and click on activate here. What is important to note is that today there is no transport mechanism that comes in during these activation of feature. And hence these activation of the features have to be done separately in the starter system, quality system, as well as the production system. And once the feature is activated, there is no rollback. The feature cannot be deactivated. The code stays in the customer system. Hence, it becomes very important for the customer to first activate in the quality or their starter system, test it thoroughly, and then eventually take a decision to move it into their production environment. So once the customer activates a feature is where he gets a status, the status changes to active, and it gets stamped by his name and the activated on state. So another thing, what is also available on the Activate New Feature is the link which provides more details on the feature which is released. So this link currently takes the user to the Roadmap Explorer. So this is the place where the customer can also see the innovations which are planned by SAP for the next quarter. So here is where I see the feature which is released as under one of the innovations, the benefits. And under the feature tab is what I can also see the link to the What's New document specific to the section of this feature, plus link to the help document to get more details. In case there is a prerequisite of a business role to be activated or to be added in order to test this feature, it also gets included in this tab. So you will find an additional tab of business role here, which would specify the business role which is required to test the feature. Now, what is important is, fortunately, I could get an access to the system, which is 2108, and also a system which has recently been upgraded to 2111. So as Christian mentioned, once the features which are delivered by the toggle, they becomes a standard feature based on the decision that is taken by the product owner in the next major releases. Once the feature becomes a part of the standard solution, it is taken off from this list in the Activate New Feature. So what you just saw, this is the 2108 system where I can see the stock transfer feature. However, if I go into the 2111 feature, which has recently been updated, which means this feature is now part of the standard functionality, you will not see this in this list. If for some reason, it has also been decided that the feature which got releases for 2108.1 in the finance, which was enhanced managed journal entries, it was not taken up as a standard functionality. So it continues to stay under the Activate New Feature app with the flexibility for the customer to choose it, activate it, and then test it into their respective system. Beside this, I also mentioned on the roadmap, viewer where we talk about the implementation methodology. So the roadmap viewer as well is updated for the two-tier landscape with the continuous feature delivery. Currently, the section for the continuous feature delivery appears under the phase of run and the continuous improvement. So here is where you can see the details of the continuous feature delivery in terms of the app, which needs to be used to activate new feature, the role that is required to use this app. And it also mentions all the disclaimers, as we just mentioned, that it is by default not available in the customer landscape. It needs to be activated separately in all the systems. And once activated, it is not reversible. So this was majorly the demo that I wanted to present in how customers can get to know about the features which have got delivered and how easily can they consume this using all these touch points which are provided by the SAP tools at different point of time. So talking about the planned optimization for the CFD. So currently the link of the What's New with the Activate New Feature app. So it is in the Activate New Feature app, you saw that the features are currently linked to the Roadmap Explorer. We thought it would be more logical if it gets linked to the What's New document, since it provides more detail around the features as well as the cascading documents required to know that feature and the scope item more. So that is again in the part of the roadmap. Include the toggle information in RAST. So as of now, it just plainly gives a feature. Later on, these features will also be tagged on with the toggle information as available in the What's New document. Update Roadmap Explorer with What's New document for CFD features. Integrate configuration and toggle activation based on switch framework. So as I mentioned, currently we need to activate these independently in all the systems. So on the roadmap, we have to integrate this configuration and toggle activation together in one transport. And today, the CFD delivers only the code. The CBC content is not part of the CFD delivery, which is again a part of the roadmap to add the possibility to ship CBC content via the CFD update. So while we highlight on the customer adoption, how the customers can use the CFD, and Christian also mentioned about various benefits that we foresee for our customers via this continuous delivery through the CFD. One of the examples that we want to bring in here is as a part of the concrete use case where we could accelerate the delivery of the requirement to the customer via the CFD. So this was specific to the customers in our Greater China region, where customer planning and IPO are required to provide an update valuation of their entire inventory. However, the existing app only provides a single material information and there is no way for a bulk query and download. While this requirement was not picked for 2111, however, post evaluation and checking the technical feasibility of it getting delivered via CFD, it is now planned for 2111.1, which would demonstrate the real benefit of CFD to our customers, reducing the mean time, which is a time when customer actually puts in their requirement and when it gets delivered to them. So yeah, this was a quick update from my side. And now I will hand it back to you, Christian.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tina, for the great presentation. Really great demo. Thanks a lot. So here we are, because only one thing is left to summarize. Yeah. So, presentations, there are always three things you have to take home. Yeah. If you take home three things for this presentation, for CFD updates, there is no disruption. Yeah, and that is so important because customers will immediately understand we deliver it via hotfix, so they will be very sensitive on that topic. There is no effort related to regression testing. Yeah, on top of that, the hiding features with day one impact behind toggles, we have additional quality efforts only specific for each and individual feature. Yeah. So therefore, guaranteeing this day one impact-free delivery via CFD. Then remember to position it at the customer side as a flexible adoption of innovation. Customers have now an optional pre-delivery of functionality. Yeah? Each and every customer I presented that to loved it. They loved it. It's a simple thing. You have less effort for upgrades. and you have more flexibility to choose what to consume when. If that is not a good offer, I don't know. Yeah. In the end, customers can even choose to completely ignore CFD updates and just go with the 2 releases, yeah, if they don't have the need, and therefore reducing the efforts for upgrades massively. In the end, what we want to reach with CFD is what Tina just explained with the example. Faster action on requirements from our customers. Today, we are not the fastest in answering requirements from our customers. We change our complete planning process internally to have at all times the possibility to reprioritize our backlogs. And then we have the option to deliver way more often. In the end, therefore, leading, like Tina said, to less mean times between request and delivery and deployment of solution. All right, that's it from our side, from the content perspective. I would like to thank you and add another couple of further readings here. So for all internal colleagues, we are currently, and please, this is in setup. If you go now on this page, you will not see a lot on there. Yeah, it's a nice picture and a little text, but I would say in the next 2 weeks, we are building up, and this will be the place where we'll put all our content. Yeah, so bookmark that, go there. You will get obviously these slides here via the Delta training. So for that, you don't have to go there, I guess. Yeah. Then there is a what's new document, and all other documents are externally available. There is a what's new document explaining CFD and the new innovation cycle with updates. There are 2108.1 what's news, obviously, not only preliminary now anymore. In the meantime, we have even the final ones. Yeah. Then Tina has shown the SAP Activate content around CFD, and the documentation on the Activate New Future app. I added the link as well. So a couple of things for you to follow up on. If you have further questions, please feel free to get in touch with Tina and me. We are happy to support you, and now opening up for question and answers.
So thank you very much to Tina and Christian for a very in-depth presentation there. It's definitely exciting times to come with continuous feature delivery. In the Q&A, I can see currently we have 2 questions. So let's kick that off. So a question from Anders, first of all. Will adding an existing scope item for new countries be part of CFD?
We will not deliver complete scope items with CFD. So what you will see is that we will have kind of, Tina mentioned, we will integrate the toggles in the switch framework, which is the basis as well where you do the configuration currently. And then you will have underneath the scope item, you will see the different toggles for the different features actually that are currently active. And that will be all together kind of in one solution. Yeah, that is what we are aiming for with regards to integrating the scoping and the switching of the functionality. Because in the end, conceptually, it is the same. Yeah, just on different levels.
Okay, thank you very much. And speaking of toggles, a question from Balash. What is the toggle?
Well, a toggle is a switch. Yeah, like you know it from former times. We didn't invent that. It's switching is a standard kind of way of managing the life cycle of functionality, not only in the cloud but especially in the cloud. And with the toggle. We are kind of managing the visibility of functionality to the customer when we can make toggles kind of visible to the customer, but we can as well use toggling to completely deliver hidden. Yeah, there are internally, there are different types of toggles, let's say. And everything that is relevant for the customer here is the process that Tina has shown, where the user, or where it's a business process configuration expert, it's a role, yeah, can activate the functionality to make it visible in the system. You have to think about the coding is delivered immediately in the system. For all features with day one impact, it is just hidden with this switch, with this toggle, yeah. And only when you activate it, the functionality will be available for the customer. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I would say so, definitely. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you very much. That you, at least, it's very hard to have a discussion here, right? But thanks that
True.
you.
True. With the Q&A structure, I agree. Another question. This is from Christina. Quite a long question. So the prior WSR, so current WCR resolutions for favourable responses when urgent corrections were accepted, we were normally delivering the new content in the next release, and in parallel, a manual intervention on the customer system was necessary for anyone needing this urgently. Is CFD covering this correction process to replace the manual intervention of the expert configuration and localization teams?
For sure, CFD is one delivery opportunity for those teams to deliver any functionality that was requested by a WCR request, yeah, by a go live relevant request, therefore, yeah. So for me, this is the use case, yeah, where we have an urgent request and we have way faster delivery options to you call it correction, yeah, whatever, whether new functionality is missing or whatever, yeah, there's a gap, and to deliver it. And that, yes, the answer is exactly, this is our main use case. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Christian. One more question from Balash. What would be the frequency of CFD? Weekly, monthly, or irregular?
Yeah, good question, good question. I told you that we are using the hotfix collection, right? You know that hotfix collection are going out bi-weekly. In the beginning with 2202, then the updates 2202.1, .2, .3, those will take every second hotfix collection, so monthly. Yeah. We will skip the last kind of update before a release. Yeah, this has internal reasons, system landscape reasons currently, so that is skipped. With our goal is, and please take it as a vision, mission, or whatever you want. Yeah, our goal is in the time frame of 2202 to move even to each hotfix collection, which would mean a bi-weekly delivery of updates. But don't take this as a given now. Yeah, this is our vision. We first have to learn and really we have to make this really stable as well on customer side, get the feedback. So we are currently scaling up the CFD updates, the number of features that are delivered, and then as well next year the number of CFD updates that we will deliver, as I mentioned. So that is something that we step by step scale up, learn, and our goal is to go next year to bi-weekly cadence.
Thank you, Christian. Great answer. One further question from Anders. So building on his previous question, the retail capabilities that are planned to be introduced in 2202 for the US and in Germany, are these scope items, will they be part of CFD for more countries? And if not, will they have to wait for 2208?
Now you are asking for dedicated functionality, and unfortunately, I'm not in the retail industry. I'm not, I'm not now expert on this application, so I don't know. Yeah. If you want to know this, get in touch with your PMs, with your contacts in the different units, and ask them to deliver it as soon as possible, if possible, via CFD update to get it earlier. Yeah, it's something, unfortunately, there I really have to say, I don't know what is really planned in this retail area.
So assuming that that's an example, that would, the same would apply for basically for any situation then, really. So for anything which is specific to LOB or industry, that's totally out of your hands at this stage.
Exactly. Get in touch with your product managers in the different areas. CFD is another delivery option for them that they can choose. But I don't know centrally which one they choose for what. Yeah, that is something that is in the responsibility of the different development units and the product management over there.
Currently, no further questions, but if anyone does have any, we'll wait another couple of moments just to so we can take some more. So, any further questions, please do enter them in the Q&A tool at the bottom of your screen. One question I'm curious about, but I don't know if you'll be able to give me an answer for this. The effect of CFD and what this will have on events such as the Delta training for planning as of next year.
And that is
curious to see.
Very good. Yes, and that is a very good question, Greg, because Delta training is obviously just representing one event, rollout event. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so far, everything related to rollout was based on releases, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So now we probably have to sit together and think about, is it still enough to have, these, you have now for 2 releases, even one Delta training, yeah? Is that still enough, or do we need smaller formats, more continuous, yeah? So that is definitely a discussion we need. And I don't have yet the answer, Greg. Happy to get in touch with you and discuss it with you.
Absolutely. Looking forward to aligning on that. I think it's for myself and everyone from the enablement team, there's definitely some curiosity there.
Yep.
Absolutely. So aside from that, I can see no further questions in the chat. Like I said, the session recording will be posted on our landing pages as well as the slides. In the slides there, you can see Christian and Tina have provided us with some links for further reading and their email addresses. So I'm sure if there are any further questions which you do have to CFD, it's totally fine to reach out to either of you.
Exactly. Just one last comment from my side. I'm now as well in contact with partner management, and in the next weeks we will set up as well a page for partners there. Yeah, because we have only here an internal page that is obviously not sufficient. Yeah, so that will come.
Okay, good to know. Excellent. So far, no further questions. I think we can bring the session to a close. So on behalf of the Delta Training Planning team, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Christian and Tina for all your efforts in preparing and delivering the session. And thank you to all of our participants who attended today. Wish you all a very nice, pleasant rest of the day or evening, depending where you are working from in the world just now. So thank you and goodbye.